One thing I want to bring to your attention is that this row of buttons are available no matter which tab you're on. Let's just review what these buttons are. Of course, this deletes the evaluation. This edits the evaluation, meaning I can go back to the page where I can name the session. So I can rename the session. I can have some information on the memo tab where I can put some details about this particular session. I can save while I'm working, or I can save and close, and this will send me back to the mundane 3 list of evaluations. So let's pop back into maintenance and repair where we started this. So that's what edit does. This has to do with variance, and I have the ability to narrow my variance, meaning if I have a point, the points next to it of a distance of 0.01 above and below, or left and right, however you want to see it, are also included. And if I widen my variance by going with a larger number, I'm including more neighboring points in that. So let me just show you how this looks when I change the variance. Right now these points are reflecting a variance of 0.3. Let's jump to 0.6 and see what happens to the aqua rings on the wave tab. As you can see, they're significantly larger, and this means that the number of points in the frequency matrix that are seen through this template, maintenance and repair, has increased because this specific point, 585 for example, is now encompassing a lot of points next to it on either side. So therefore it's getting more results from the template. At the beginning, 0.3 is the typical level to just work with your material. Again, this is refresh, this is reset, this is my list of templates. So if I click that, I can see that I am using maintenance and repair because that's what's selected. This is what I will select if I want to change it. I'm happy with maintenance and repair, so we'll just cancel. This pull points, I mentioned that I'll explain predictive, current, and long term, and I'll do that when we jump over to the GNS tab. Active template we worked on, and that's how we got these points. Highs and lows means it picks half of the points that are considered high and half of the points that are considered low, without any focus on predictive or long-term things of that nature. This goes to the next record, so I can surf from maintenance and repair and jump over to the next evaluation in my clients folder, which is Muscle Master. And I can jump to the next one, which is mapping methylation. So I can jump between evaluations using this next and previous record function. Now, depending how large my screen is or how large I've got this browser running, some buttons cannot be shown on this display, so this little 3-dot button drops down the remaining buttons that are available. If I took my browser and went full screen, I wouldn't see this button at all, but since I'm so small, it adds the additional things that are missing in this button, which are show and report, and we have the choice of printing an evaluation report on these results, or we have the choice of doing a note correlate chart. And also I can rename this evaluation. So again, these are always available, and they're always seen too. If I scroll down to see the rest of this page, they pop up and stay on the top, so that's kind of handy. All right, let's move over to the GNS tab and look at some of the details about that. GNS stands for Genesis, and this reflects the points that I pulled on the Wave tab, and these are the numbers, and let's just confirm that. For example, this is point 847, and it says it has 6 hits. So let's go back to the Wave tab and look at 847, and sure enough, you see the flag on the bottom there. It says 6 hits. So that's the parallel between this column and this column. By default, it sorts so that they are in descending order. I'm most curious about which point has the most number of hits, and so this is the default view. I can change this, and I can reset it to the default view by using this button. This is inactive until I select some points. So what it will do is it will delete these points from the points that I selected. If I want to sort by point, so lowest to highest, just click here and I see that I have 2 points that are in a red band, and then I have these green ones, and then they turn blue. Let me scroll down to the bottom here. So what do these colors mean? And I'll show you that. If you look at these colors on these 2 points, you'll see that that color matches this column in the note correlate window, and so these are predictive. And then the greens match present, and then the blues obviously are going to match long term. So what these terms refer to is if your voice print has something in the predictive range, which are toward the left side of the collection of points, then it's something that's showing up but hasn't quite manifested itself yet. If it's something in the present, that means it could be an acute issue, or you've had trauma, or you've consumed a toxin, or things of that nature, something that's happening and it's in the system. It could be temporary, it could indicate something more long term, maybe you pulled a muscle, etc. Long term is where you find things that have been established and become more of a chronic issue. And so when we're pulling points, for example, go back here, predictive pulls 50% of the points in the predictive range, and then the rest are distributed between the current and the long term. And so you can see the logic here. Current focuses 50% of the points in the current range and then distributes the rest between the other 2. Long term focuses on long term, and then remaining points are selected from the predictive and current range. So that is what that function does, and that's what these color codes mean. Another thing we can do here is sort by note. For example, if I click here, it goes in ascending order. The lowest note is C, even though there is an A. That has to do with how music has been notated. But the point is, the lowest note is C, and we have 0 Cs. Then we have 3 C sharps. And so the parallel here is this number of notes is counted and displayed in this column. So Ds, I've got 2 Ds. The next column, the hits column, adds up all of the points and gives you a sum. Obviously, since I have 0 Cs, there's 0 hits. I have 3 Cs, and if I add up these 3 numbers, it equals 10. And also, I have 1 C sharp in the predictive range of 4 counts, so here it is. And then I have 2 C sharps in the long-term range, and there is their sum. So the way these numbers are reflecting has to do with the results on the GNS tab. And what value this has is something that you can learn through taking the Sound Health program as a technician, and it becomes more informative. But the primary value of this note correlate is having a printout of the note correlate chart. And we'll show you what that does in comparison to the note correlate window. This note correlate chart is something very commonly given to clients, or to kind of get a bird's eye view of what's happening with the person's well-being in referencing notes. So here again, C has 0 hits and C sharp has 3. You don't really worry about things that go up to 3. 0 to 3 is, yeah, okay, so what? But when things jump to 4 or more, that's significant. So this particular voice print has 4 E's, and there are some emotional impacts of that. and that is verbal expression, self-sabotage, needs to be needed, and then physical manifestations of this is oxygenation, lungs, mucus-related allergies, can't get rid of body trash. So when something is high, the note correlate chart gives you some information about what could be out of balance. I believe we had another 4. Yeah, A. So here in A has to do with these emotional issues and these physical issues. And when you're finished with this, you can close or you can make a printout as a PDF or Excel or some other formats. By clicking this button, you can export this report and save it to disk and save it in your client's folder on your local machine. That is the process with the note correlate chart. So by default, this sorts by descending order, and it helps me see that I have 4 hits with this point, and we will discover how to find out more information about this point by going to the Frequency Hits tab.